There we are. Welcome to Pac-12 Preview. 1 second. There we go. Yes, welcome to Pac-12 Preview, as I am Michael Carrasvenuto at Diablo00 on Twitter. Man, hit me up. Let's have some fun. Let's rock it. But it is that time of year, March Madness. Obviously, very, very big time for some teams. And it looks like on the men's side, a fourth team, according to bracketology, and we go off of Joe Lunardi's because a lot of them, even Fox Sports, ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, you look at it, they're all really in agreement. A few, maybe seating different here and there, but it is huge what happened last night, and we will review that. Also, going to talk a little championship swimming, as the ASU men's swim team, led by a longtime swim coach, but story swim coach Bob Bowman, they won the men's Pac-12 championship, and the first school outside of California to do that in the conference. And this is just a program that, a few years back, well, it's been quite a few years, but quite a few years back had folded due to the swim program, men's and women's, due to cuts, and they are back, and they won a national or a Pac-12 championship, and they will be very well represented at the championships. Also, rivalry softball this weekend in the conference. And no, not just because I'm in Arizona, but Arizona is playing Arizona State in Tempe, a 3-game series this weekend. And the overall success that Arizona's had in softball in the conference and on the national level, ASU behind them a little bit in that, but nonetheless has had success themselves. Megan Bartlett taking over as head coach, as last year a team that went to the Super Regionals. Tricia Ford is at Texas A&M, for those who don't know, but a huge matchup there. And so we'll get to that, but man, so stoked. Again, the men's tournament. The men's tournament kicked off on Wednesday. Let's get right into it. Kicked off on Wednesday, and pretty much Well, most definitely UCLA, who's battling for a 1 seed, definitely in the tournament. Arizona, definitely in the tournament on the 2 line. 2 seed, and USC were in. And there were some schools that had a little bit of work to do. And when we look at Wednesday, Colorado, again, both Colorado and Washington, a long shot to do it. But opening round on Wednesday, and Arizona, UCLA, Oregon, and USC all had buys. Those are the top 4 seeds. So yes, they don't need to play day 1. They just wouldn't have to win 4 games, would have to win 3. But day 1 saw Colorado and Washington playing. Cal and Washington State, who, as you guys recall, was kind of my sleeper team. If I had to pick one sleeper team to win the Pac-12 tournament, it was Washington State. But Washington State was taking on Cal, Utah, and Stanford going to battle. And again, they had just played. That was Oregon, not Utah. That was Oregon. So yeah, Utah and Stanford, and then Oregon State and Arizona State. So Colorado and Washington State kicked off the day. The Buffaloes got the 74-68 victory. First team Pac-12 player for Colorado. Almost said Washington. Tristan Da Silva, a 6'9" junior. He had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. But he did not lead his team in scoring. That went to Julian Hammond III, the sophomore, the 6'3" sophomore, who had 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists for Colorado. And they are able to beat Washington 74-68. And then Washington State, again, Cal actually fired their head coach. So they now have a job opening, does Cal, as does Georgetown, by the way. Patrick Ewing team went, I think they said it was 7-20 this year. And great alum Patrick Ewing was let go. So, but nonetheless, Washington State handled Cal 69-52. Stanford beat Utah, and Utah looking good. And then that last 2 weeks of the regular season just kind of hit a lull. And Stanford gets that win, 73-62 over Utah. And then ASU, a little sloppy in the end. But Arizona State, the 6th seed, taking on the 11th-seeded Oregon State Beavers. Arizona State gets the 63-57 victory, made it interesting down the stretch. Warren Washington led ASU in scoring, 15 points, 9 boards. And again, when they feed him down low, and again, it's tough to – teams make it tough to get it down low, but at the same time, teams cutting off the 3-point line, you figure you get the ball down low, work inside out, and he had a heck of a game, 15 points, 9 boards for the Sun Devils as ASU takes care of business on Wednesday. So for Thursday, that meant Colorado was taking on UCLA. Stanford was taking on Arizona, Oregon, and Washington State. And then last night, Thursday, last night, ASU and USC. Well, UCLA rolls Colorado 80-69. Really no trouble for the Bruins there. 37 in the first half, 43 in the second half. As you would think, was Jaime Jaquez their leading scorer? No, although Jaime Jaquez Jr. did have 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. But Their leading scorer. uh, that was a good one. Amari Bailey, the 6'5" freshman Amari Bailey, was the team's leading scorer in the game, or for UCLA. He had 26 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Did Bailey. Tiger Campbell also put in 18 at 18 points, 2 rebounds, or 7 assists, 2 rebounds. And like I said, Hawkins had 16 points, 9 boards, and 2 assists. Also chimed in with a steal, so a very comfortable victory for the Bruins, as they get that. Arizona, really no problem with Stanford. 95-84. I mean, it was 47-43 at half. Both teams putting up points at half. It was kind of, again, for Arizona's first game, again, didn't have to play the first day, and the way their defense has been, teeny bit surprised there. But in Stanford, second half of the season, trying to pick up some steam, but they beat Arizona 95, or Arizona beat Stanford, 95-84. And 3 guys over 20 points or over for the Wildcats. Umar Ballo had 24 points, 6 boards, and a steal. Cedric Henderson Jr. had 20. The 6'6" senior had 23 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals for Henderson. And then Azuolas Tubelis had 20 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals. So Wildcats, of course, getting the contributions on the offensive end. Kirk Kriisa actually only had 1 point, which a little odd, but yeah, the other guys are rolling. And then he was the only starter not to be in double digits, because Courtney Ramey, the 6'3" senior, also had 15 points, 1 assist, 1 steal. But yeah, the only starter that wasn't in double digits for Arizona, but they still get the comfortable 95-84 victory over Stanford. And yes, my Cinderella pick, well, came to an end. Washington State falls to Oregon 75-70. And Oregon was up by 8 at half, 38-30. Washington State outscored them in the second half by a little bit, 40-37, by the 3-point margin, but hence lose by 5. And the Ducks, again, looking to see if they can get the automatic bid. It's going to take now. Well, talk about their matchup coming up, but for the Ducks, looking to get the automatic bid. And it was a heck of a game for Nafali Dante, as the 6'11", 230-pound senior had 16 points, 11 boards, and 1 assist, also a steal and a block. So yes, filling up the stat sheet, as they like to say. Dante had a heck of a game. Their leading scorer for the Ducks, though, by actually 1 point, was Jermaine Cousinard, the 6'4" senior. And Cousinard had 17 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for the Ducks. Washington State had 4 of their 5 starters in double figures. TJ Bamba led the team again, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Justin Powell had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist as well. And then Mohamed Gaye had, for Washington State, had 14 points, 3 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. And then Jakimovsky, Andre Jakimovsky had, the junior for Washington State, had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. So starters again getting the job done. I mean, DJ Rodman, the only guy under, didn't have double, but he had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal, 2 blocks. So it's that the effort wasn't there for Kyle Smith's squad, but Dana Altman and the Ducks get it done. They win 75-70 last night. So that sets up Semifinal Friday here in the Pac-12. And man, I'm telling you, absolutely awesome. Because the matchups and wait, there's one more game. I am sorry. Look at that. Arizona State, 77-72 over Southern Cal. They beat Oregon State, and all the talk going in is that they were in the first 4 out. Oklahoma State had lost earlier, and North Carolina had lost earlier, and thinking that they were also out. They were part of the first 4 out, but Oklahoma State, North Carolina losing helped out Arizona State immensely, fans, and they needed to take care of business though. And they were up by 14 at half, 39-25. You knew the Trojans would charge back in the second half, and they outscored them by 9, 47-38. But the Sun Devils down the stretch did enough, and they get the victory the first time they beat the Trojans this season, 77-72. Desmond Cambridge Jr. led all scorers with 27 points, and he had 27 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. He was 10 for 21 from the field. All right, figure just a eyelash there under 50%. But here's where the team has struggled. And yes, it's been, I'm sure, frustrating, maddening for Sun Devil fans and just shooting threes. And yes, I understand the game's about shooting threes. But at the same time, if you can get the ball to the basket, you have a guy down there in Warren Washington that can get the job done. Like I said, led the team in scoring the first night. Work it to him. Let him get bigs in foul trouble or kick it back out. Somebody's going to be open if they're going to come down and double him to get the ball out of his hands. But Desmond Cambridge Jr., 6 for 12 from the 3-point line. They were 14 for 32 from behind the arc last night, which is 43.8%, which is hugely greater than what they've been shooting from behind the arc all season long. So that was huge. Now, the free throws, 17-28, 60%, almost 61%. Again, not thrilled about that. Needs to be a little bit better. But when we look at what Desmond Cambridge Jr. did, like I said, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. Now, Warren Washington only had 2 points on this fine evening. And those all came from the free throw line because he was 0 for 4 from the field. But UCLA's length or USC's length, what they were doing, again, he played 28 minutes and was very effective. But So 2 points, 8 boards, though, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. Of course, we need him to protect that rim, like I said. So 27 points. And then DJ Horn had 16 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. Devin Cambridge had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. Frankie Collins, again, 1 point, but he was, again, getting guys involved, running the offense. Had a scary play towards the end of the game. He went to climb the ladder, guy at 6'1", to throw it down, gets fouled, hit the court hard, but got up, was able to walk it off. So you just hope that he wakes up today and is feeling okay. But yeah, 1 point, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Oh, and 3 rebounds as well. And for USC, Boogie Ellis thinking, okay, but they had 3 guys in double figures. Their leading scorer was the 6'7" freshman, Trey White, who had 16 points and 5 rebounds. Well, he was, 16 points, 5 rebounds for White. Both Boogie Ellis and Kobe Johnson had 15 points apiece. So for Ellis, he had 15 points, 4 assists, 1 rebound, 1 steal. For Johnson, he had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. And he fouled out of the game, as did Boogie Ellis. Both of those gentlemen fouled out of the game. But then even off the bench, because he got quite a few minutes because guys, again, in foul trouble, was Reese Dixon Waters, who played 25 minutes. He had 16 points as well and 5 rebounds, 1 assist for Reese Dixon Waters. And ASU bench-wise, Jemiah Neal had 9 points. Duke Brennan had a big dunk, but 2 points for Duke Brennan, 6 points for Alonzo Gaffney, and Luther Muhammad, who came in. Again, I liked Coach Hurley getting him in there, played very good defense. Again, not that ASU wasn't, but kept the ASU defensive intensity up with Austin Nunez, who's been out with concussion protocol for a little bit now. And he, again, they definitely miss him pressuring the ball up front, but what was I going to say? With they missed that pressure, but Luther Muhammad, like I was saying, he had 3 points and 1 rebound, but big offensive rebound and point in the game too. But no, I mean, you miss what Frankie Collins does, but Luther Muhammad defensively, again, adding to what the team's defense has been, putting that pressure on. So ASU advances to Semifinal Friday, and I mean, huge, absolutely huge. And when we look at the schedule for today, before we get, well, let's go to the bracketology because that was updated today at according to Joe Lenardi, who again I don't think sleeps this time of year. But once these conference tournaments starts, Dave Pasch had a great line last night to Bill Walton because Bill Walton picking on him, and I'll get to that in a second because I can see where Bill Walton's going, but it's tough. He presents a great case, but according to Joe Lenardi's bracketology this morning, after their win last night, the top overall seed is still Kansas. First team out, Oklahoma State. Last team in, Arizona State. which is crazy because now it pumped Mississippi State to the last 4 byes, which I think they get crushed. I hope they get crushed tonight against Alabama, even though they'll probably get credit and they'll go up to number 1 on the last 4 byes. But so according to Joe Lunardi, the last 4 in are Rutgers, Pitt, Utah State, and Arizona State. The last 4 byes, like I said, go to Boise State, Providence, Penn State, and Mississippi State. Penn State got a big win against Illinois last night. So the first 4 out, though, Oklahoma State, Clemson, Nevada, and Wisconsin. So Oklahoma State can't really do anything to advance their cause and stay lost. North Carolina. And then the next 4 out, he had North Carolina, Oregon, Vanderbilt, and Michigan. Now, Oregon is interesting because they play, and well, we'll get to that in a second, but they're in the semifinals. So at the 68 team bracket, he has Arizona State and Utah State playing for 111 seed, Rutgers and Pitt playing for the other, Southeast Missouri State and Fairleigh Dickinson playing for one of the 16 seeds, and then TAMU, Texas A&M, University Corpus Christi, and Howard playing for the other 16 seed. And he has UCLA as number 1 in the West. He has Arizona as a 2 seed in the Midwest. And he has USC as a 9 seed as well in the Midwest. So both Arizona and USC in the Midwest. Arizona a 2 seed, USC a 9 seed, and then UCLA, which kind of crazy because you could have half of a Final Four being an all Pac-12 matchup between UCLA and Arizona. Texas is the 2 seed in the West. Again, the way they've played well, but just saying if you go with Chalk Gonzaga, the 3 seed right now after they won their West Coast Conference tournament. But that's where Lunardi has it. So 4 Pac-12 teams in, with ASU playing for that 11 seed against Utah State. So they'd have to play on that first day. Now, so the semifinal matchups, though, for today in the Pac-12, Oregon and UCLA will kick it off at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, out in Vegas, tournament in Vegas, as I didn't mention, but I'm sure many of you already know. So Oregon taking on UCLA, and on the season, I want to say UCLA did, they beat them. Did they play them twice? Yeah, so they played them in December, and they beat them 65-56, and then the second time they played them, it was 70-63. So the Bruins took both games from the Ducks. And that's who's kicking off semifinal action tonight from Vegas, like I said, T-Mobile Arena at the MGM Grand. And then the nightcap will be, yes, the Territorial Cup rivalry between Arizona and Arizona State. And these teams split this year, each winning on each other's home court. Arizona on New Year's Eve, they beat ASU 69-60. They pulled away in the end. They hung around right there. The second game down in Tucson. ASU won 89-88 on Des Cambridge's like 55, 60-foot heave. in which he jumps off the wrong foot. Bill Walton had love talking about that last night. So that's how he's always shot it. That's how he practices it. And so yeah, they won 89-88. They split. So that's where those teams are. So with ASU in now, look, Oregon, interesting team because again, they were in that second four out, which if they were to win this today, I think North Carolina would be booted over to that second four out, as would Oklahoma State. And Oregon, I think, would pop into the first four out if they're able to beat UCLA and get to the Pac-12 conference championship game. So again, but the way UCLA is playing, very, 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 very tall task, as they are actually the number 2 team in the country with the last rankings that had come out. So, and then Arizona and Arizona State. Arizona went up one spot. They're number 8 in the country. And, you know, you look at how ASU won last time, it comes down to the same scenario. I'm guessing Tommy Lloyd's going to have whoever at the free throw line miss the free throw. So time expires, got to be even a bigger heave. But ASU's going to have to play defense like they did last night. I mean, USC, there were stretches in the game where neither team shot very well, but they held USC to one and dones, and that is so overly important, probably stating the huge obvious against Arizona for Arizona State. So that's where they're at. I'm going to step aside real quick. When I get back, we are going to, again, break down these games a little bit more, these matchups a little bit more, and go from there. And then, like I said, we'll transition to softball and a little bit of swimming as well. So we'll step aside, but more coming up here on Pac-12 Preview. All right, back here on Pac-12 Preview. Yes, I am Michael Caracino at Diablo00 on Twitter. Feel free to hit me up as yeah, hit me up on Twitter at Diablos00 as we get rolling. And or keep rolling here, I should say, on Pac-12 Preview. As, like I said, huge semifinal games coming up in the men's hoops tournament, as half of the Final Four, no surprise, the top 2 teams in the Pac-12 standings, Arizona, yes, and UCLA and Arizona. UCLA won the regular season outright, first team in conference history to win 18 conference games. Absolutely insane there. And yes, it did go to a 20-game schedule a few seasons ago, but even when it was 18 games, there's quite a few 17 and 1, 4 or 5 17 and 1 records. Talked about that with Chris Cartman on Monday, but nobody went 18 and 0. And the fact that UCLA went 18 and 2 in conference play, did not lose a game on their home court, just insane. So lucky for teams that this is in Vegas. Again, not too far from LA, but still, it's absolutely just you see the talent, and it's and just how they play their defense. Again, their length, their defense, everything. I mean, Jaime Jaquez Jr. Up for many a postseason awards and was on watch lists and now up for awards. No surprise there. They're battling Oregon, and Dana Altman, his team has charged, has made kind of a late season charge as they needed to. I mean, to get the 4th seed and have that first bye, or be one of the 4 teams to have that first round bye in the Pac-12 tournament, a seed that Arizona State, who's here but controlled until that last weekend, and you look at it for Oregon, it's a very interesting team. If they beat UCLA, I would have to think that they would be in. I'm sorry, because I mean, Utah State and ASU hanging on by a thread. So it's according to that. But I think ASU with that win is definitely in now, and no matter what happens today, because again, they're playing Arizona again for a 3rd time. So Oregon has the most to gain from this. But yeah, when you look at, like I said, UCLA won both of the regular season matchups. And you said the first one in December, because they play 2 conference games in December. So then everybody plays everybody at least once. Yeah, everybody plays everybody at least once. So yeah, they won the game in December and then won it again in January. Or wait, was that February? Trying to see the dates. Why is it? All right, let's get to the bottom of this because it's saying January, then it said February. Not a big fan of messing with my emotions like that, especially in my notes when I have it one way. But nonetheless, yes, December 4th and then February 11th. Yes, my apologies. Sorry, that was going to drive me absolutely maddening. But yes, okay, February 11th. It helps if you can read your own notes, but that's why people type stuff, right? I know. And the last time they played, Jaime Jaquez Jr. had 25 points and 12 rebounds. He was high for both of those. Had team highs, so led UCLA in both those. So 25 points, 12 boards. And I mean, you look at down the stretch how Jaquez Jr. carried him from that game against Oregon, right? February 11th, he led the team in scoring with 25. Then the 16th against Stanford, 26. Then against Cal, 20. Against Utah, led the team in scoring with 23. Against Colorado, 17. Against Arizona State, 26, which they needed all of it because in the beginning, nobody else could hit a bucket, and ASU's up, but they're up by 6, they're up by 7, and then it was like 25-19, but Jaquez had 15 of the team's 19 points. So yeah, he had 26 against Arizona State, then 22 against that avenging win against Arizona. Yeah, 22 and 10, and then, like I said, Bailey in the Pac-12 tournament led the team with 26 points. But the 7-game stretch where Jaime Jaquez Jr. Where Jaime Jaquez Jr. led the Bruins in scoring, and 4 of those times he also led them in rebounds as well. So look, Oregon knows what they're going to have to go after, but this defense, and again, how Mick Cronin has this team playing and what they can do defensively. Are they physical? Can they switch? They have the length to where they can switch a lot. Yes, you can get open shots on them. Yes, try and get them in foul trouble. Again, it's half that battle. If you have open threes, I get taking it. But I know I could not coach in today's game with teams that has a guy drive and is literally at the rim, could lay it up and in, not going to get blocked. And you know it's not going to get blocked. And then you just kick it out to the 3-point line and dude misses. I just hit me up in the comments if you think that. Hit me up on Twitter. I know I'm not, and it has nothing to do with being old school and being a curmudgeon saying, get off my lawn and all that good stuff. What it has to do with is I just don't understand passing up points. Yeah, if a guy hits a 3, okay, cool, you got one more point. But when you're like, and teams have done it, when you're like 3 for 17 from the 3-point line and you're still chucking it out there, like you've gotten behind. If you're 3 for 17, right, from the 3-point line, say after you were about 3 for 12, you said, all right, forget it. You go inside, you're to the rim, you get it. So that's 5 possessions. You got 2 points. So now you got 10 more points. So instead of maybe being down by 17, you're down by 7. Or maybe instead of, a team being up by whatever, you're up. But feel free. Again, hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter at Diablo00. Yeah, I just that drives me in this day. It just drives me absolutely insane. And then when guys are like dribbling, and then like nobody's moving, at the 3, they're dribbling at the 3-point line, nobody's moving. It gets me on that one every single time. But I digress. But Oregon and Dana Altman, I mean, that's the thing. You look at what Oregon has done this stretch, like to this point, getting the 4 seed, finishing at 12-8 in the Pac-12, and so on February 4th in Tempe, they avenged their loss up in Eugene, up in Eugene to Arizona State. Then they turn around and at home they beat USC. They lose to UCLA again. They lose to Washington by 1 in overtime. Then they turn around and lost to Washington State, which, again, Washington State's coming on late. They lose to Washington State 68-65. Then they rattle off 3 straight wins to close out the regular season. Now, granted, it's Oregon State rivalry game, and Oregon State down a little bit for Wayne Tinkle this year. But then you beat Cal. Okay, we know Cal's story, not good. Then you hold on to beat Stanford 73-68. You turn around and you send now Washington State home. You avenge that loss, and they split with Washington State in the regular season. They beat Washington State at home, and then they lost to them up in the Palouse. So, 'Cause, 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 they get the rubber match 75-70, but they've won 4 straight. They win their last 3, as they should, to close out. Now, for Oregon, and again, when you look at because Bill Walton last night, I will say, for Oregon to win this game against UCLA, yes, they're going to have to somewhat try and contain. I'm not going to say shut down Jaime Jaquez because that's not happening. Contain Jaime Jaquez, but stay patient. Run your offense. Oregon has length too. Oregon has a lot of length, and especially on the wings that can affect shots. So I don't think it's going to be. I think UCLA wins, but I know, typical me answer. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon did. But I do think it will be a close game. Absolutely 100% between UCLA and Oregon. And for, like I said, Dana Altman, if you do get the win, I think you definitely catapult yourself into the first 4 out, into the championship game. It's so that's where they're at, and I think they will be. Look, homer wise, of course, I'm rooting for Arizona State. I'm picking Arizona State to beat Arizona and get to the Pac-12 championship game because they do that. They should get off of having to play in. That should bump them up because, again, according to Joe Lunardi, they're the last team in right now. But I mean, I just don't get how Wisconsin's still part of the first 4 out when they lost to Ohio State. Now, look, because if ASU would have lost to Oregon State, yeah, can I present a case? Can everybody from Arizona State, could you present a strong case? Yeah. But Wisconsin, I'm sorry, like they should not be ahead of Oregon. And Carolina, who Oregon is below, if you're looking at how Lunardi has them in the next 4 out, it goes North Carolina, Oregon, Vanderbilt, and Michigan. But yet you saw worthless Mississippi State in as the last 4 buys. I think that needs to change. I think if Arizona State does beat Arizona, they catapult for a second time. They go into the last 4 buys, and Mississippi State should come out because I think Mississippi State gets wiped today, as they should, against Alabama. That's just me. I'm so like, and I've said a lot. And yeah, you'll say, "Oh, you're just going after me." What do you have against Mississippi State? If we're comparing resumes, Arizona State's is much better. I'm sorry, much better. Yeah, the 20-point loss to San Francisco right at the end of conference play, not good. But Mississippi State losing like 5, 6 in a row, and they're out of conference, just being absolutely horrific with teams that I haven't seen one of those teams win their. Well, maybe they have. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm going to do that on Monday because obviously we'll have the brackets out and we will also have, the conference championships will be done, but I'll see who got the automatic bids. But yeah, Mississippi State is just, again, they should still be in that last 4 in. If we're going to be honest, I mean, Rutgers in the Big Ten, the way they've been playing, you swap Mississippi State and Rutgers, and then I would again still have Arizona State above Mississippi State. It's just an absolute joke that they have to play Utah State and Rutgers has to play Pitt. But Clemson, to me, in that first 4 out, that's another team that should be ahead of Oklahoma State because I know I tell people not to have knee-jerk reactions and overreaction, whatever, today, overreaction Friday, Monday, whatever. But like with Wisconsin, I'm sorry, you lost to Ohio State. Ohio State literally playing this is nothing play. You as Wisconsin had so much more to play for. You should not be in the first 4 out. You should be in the next 4 out. You should be joining Michigan over there. Oregon should be in that bottom of that first 4 out ahead of Carolina and Wisconsin. It's just annoying to me. And these guys do their homework and they've been doing it. And yeah, there's a few But yeah, Mississippi State. I'm sorry, they did not play their way in. It's absolutely they get boated tonight, and I really do hope that Alabama does boat them. Um, does boat them today. Right now, Purdue's up on Rutgers at halftime, 29-28. Little live scores for you guys. And I started in the SEC yet. That's weird. No, they have not, but they are about to get going. About 5 minutes. Oh, Alabama and Mississippi State tip. So when Mississippi State loses to Alabama again, and if they beat them, look, fine. I mean, the overreaction on them or the love for them is ridiculous because they're getting credit for their conference, but yet Bill Walton's argument last night about how I mean, Wisconsin lost on the first day to Ohio State. They're done. I'm sorry. 17-14 overall, 9-11 in the Big Ten. Like, I'm sorry. No. Well, maybe. Hold on. Let's look at Wisconsin's schedule. South Dakota, they beat Stanford. Okay, but again, Pac-12. If it was shoes on the other foot, they say, "Oh well, they're not that good, and they didn't do this." So then Green Bay, Dayton, they lost to Kansas by one. They hung it, so that's given them. They're hanging on to that win way back from December. That loss from December. They did beat USC. That's right. We talked about this earlier. They beat Stanford and USC. They did beat USC by 5. Again, a different USC. They play USC now. USC boats them. Absolutely boats them. But that's not when they played. Lost to Wake Forest. Okay. Beat Marquette. Beat Maryland. Beat Iowa. Beat Lehigh. Their game against Grambling got canceled. They beat Western Michigan, Minnesota. They lost to Illinois, Michigan State, and Indiana. Beat Penn State. Lost to Northwestern. Lost to Maryland. Lost to Illinois. Beat Ohio State, lost to Northwestern. Beat Penn State, lost to Nebraska. Beat Michigan, lost to Rutgers. Beat Iowa, lost to Michigan, lost to Purdue. Yeah, they beat Minnesota, lost. I'm sorry. Like, I don't see it. I mean, they're clinging to that, again, 1 point loss to Kansas. And that's how you look at the strength. I mean, come on. South Dakota, Green Bay, Dayton. Although Dayton, they beat 43-42. If that game switches, they would good. They would have been out. But nonetheless, that's where we're at. But look, it all gets sorted out. Semifinals and finals in conference championships today, tomorrow, and Sunday as well. And then obviously the brackets come out Sunday night. So that's where we are at with that. So yeah. Oh, my picture tonight though. I did pick UCLA. And yes, of course I can't pick that other team, even though I think it'll be a close game like the second one. Actually, both of them were close because look, Arizona can play defense, but I'm going with the Sun Devils to take that game. So Sun Devils and the Bruins. Although just for absolute madness, I would love the Sun Devils and the Ducks in the Pac-12 championship. But yeah, I'm going Bruins Sun Devils with that. And yeah, so that's my But I did say we would get to. I want to give a shout out, obviously, to Pac-12 program, who, again, we know that Stanford has won many of those in the Pac-12, and even nationally knows Stanford has won many, many swimming championships, as has USC. And ASU's program a few years back was gone. It was consolidated, as they say, and it came back. Bob Bowman, famous Olympic coach, but a very, very good uh, swimming coach, and has coached Olympians. Obviously, worked with Michael Phelps. They bringing the program back, and he obviously they tabbed him for coach, and I'm sure he wanted to be like, hey, this can't just be a 1 or 2 year thing. I'm not saying he said that, paraphrasing, I'm saying his thoughts, but yeah, last weekend the Sun Devil men absolutely crushed it. They win the Sun Devil men's swim and dive wins Pac-12 championship for first time in program history. Leon Marchand was named the swimmer of the meet after winning the 200 breast on Saturday in a new all-time record time of 1 minute 147.67. And he combined for 3 of the team's 6 individual titles this week. Also on relay teams, but yeah, the final standings: ASU 897.5, Cal 819, Stanford 615.5, Arizona 323, USC 314 and a half, and then Utah at 300.5. But yeah, Cal, Stanford, they've definitely won their share of swimming Pac-12 championships. And yeah, Sun Devil men's top 3 finishes, thanks to, again, Griffin Favis did such a great job as the swimming SID, but got to shout him out. And again, aiming to working with him to get Coach Bowman on as they get ready for nationals. But yeah, so top 3 finishes in history. I mean, this year, obviously, they took first, but 1980, they took third. 83, they took third. 87, they took third. 93, they took third. 95, they took second. Last year, 2022, they took third. And this year, first in the Pac-12. And the Sun Devils also set 8 new program best times this week. Jack Dolan in the 53 at 1886. In the 1600 free, Zalon Sarkany went 14:41.65. In the 200 back, Owen McDonald went 139.01. In the 200 breast, Leon Marchand went 147.67. Also, that's a new NCAA record for the young man. The 200 fly, Alex Colson went 139.55. In the 400, in the 400 IM, Marchand again went 331.57. In the 200 medley relay, Dolan, Marchand, McCusker, and Kulo went 121.69. In the 800 free relay, Marchand, House, Salmon, and Hill went 606.30. So again, Griffin Favis with the swimming SID there. But shout out to them, because a program, like I said, that was very proud and a very strong program, men's and women's. They and the women placed 5th at the Pac-12 championships. Stanford took it, and then USC. Stanford took it 172 or 1725 and a half. USC 1267 and a half at second. Cal third, and then UCLA fourth. ASU 837 and fifth. They did top Arizona, who finished 6th, and by a good margin there. Utah finished 7th, and then Washington State finished 8th. So Coach Bowman again getting the women on the rise as well. So But yeah, hats off again to Coach Bowman overall. Women's fifth, the men taking first. And but yeah, I want to say the NCAA championships start March 22nd. Yeah, I want to say it's March 22nd. That the March 22nd that the championships start swimming NCAA. So again, good luck to the ASU men, and we'll see what they can do. I mean, they qualified for quite a bit, so we'll see if they can rock it like they did on the like they did the Pac-12s. And Coach Bowman, again, a man that's got so much experience and just what he gets out of the type of swimmers he's looking for. And say, oh well, he had Michael Phelps. Well, Michael Phelps didn't just wake up and all of a sudden was winning gold medals in his the second he woke up. But again, very talented. You get what I'm saying. So definitely awesome for the Pac-12 just in general at all. I mean, like I said, for Stanford and Cal, obviously they had swimmers qualify too. So Pac-12 always very well represented at swimming at the national tournament. But I do know that it's gonna be. I think they're gonna put on even a great show there. And I mean, Leon Marchand again. He's been the talk of Tempe, but I mean, for the last 2 years, I mean, the young man's a sophomore and just absolutely crushing it. And but again, the way Coach Bowman has developed him and the team around him and what they're doing. And again, I'll have actually got some went out there and got some sound. But like I said, aiming to have Coach Bowman on next week, and we again, it should I can't wait. Again, I know he's busy, but definitely can't wait to catch up with him. And even if it's after the national tournament, hey, that's fine. That is fine too. But yeah, so good luck to them. And then in softball, well, to me, the biggest matchup of the weekend is here in Tempe. And no, not just because I'm a Sun Devil. Follow me, guys. They're playing Arizona. Yes, it's rivalry, but the success, I mean, if you go back and look at the history of the Women's College World Series, I know Oklahoma talks all that yap right now, and but the Pac-12 in the history of the Women's College Softball World Series is miles ahead of every other conference, miles and miles and miles ahead. Arizona is the team that had early success, as did UCLA, yes, Arizona as well too. Just absolutely insane what those two did. I will tell you what they did because they it's unbelievable. Yeah, if you look at the Division 1 Women's College Softball World Series, and it started in 1982. Oh, who won the first one? UCLA. Then it went Texas A&M beat Cal State Fullerton, and then UCLA, Cal State Fullerton again over Texas A&M. So they switched there. And then A&M over UCLA, 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 UCLA. So that's from 82 to 90. UCLA won. They won 5. And then from 82 to 89, they won 5. Then they win in 90. And then Arizona wins in 91. Who'd they beat? UCLA. In 92, UCLA wins. And who'd they beat? Arizona. In 93, Arizona wins. Who'd they beat? UCLA. In 94, Arizona. They beat Cal State Northridge. In 95, UCLA beat Arizona. In 96, Arizona. Who'd they beat? Washington. In 97, Arizona. Who'd they beat? UCLA. In 98, Fresno State. Who'd they beat? Arizona. In 99, UCLA. Who'd they beat? Washington. Oh, there's Oklahoma. Oklahoma was their first in 2000. All right. Hats off to them. Beat UCLA. Next year, 2001, Arizona. Who'd they beat? UCLA. 2002, Cal. Who'd they beat? Arizona. 2003, UCLA. They beat Cal. Same matchup in 2004. They beat Cal. 2005, somehow Michigan wins it, but who'd they beat? UCLA. 2006, Arizona beats Northwestern. 2007, Arizona beats Tennessee. 2008, Arizona State beats Texas A&M. 2009, Washington beats Florida. 2010, UCLA beats who? Arizona. 2011, Arizona State beats Florida. 2012, okay, first time no Pac-12 team in it for, yeah, so 2012, it was Alabama and Oklahoma, right? Alabama wins it. And so 2012 was the first time since 1986 that a Pac-12 team, at least one Pac-12 team, pardon me, wasn't in the College World Series championship in softball. Because 86, like I said, was Cal State Fullerton over A&M. Then after that, UCLA went won all. Then you have Arizona, UCLA, Arizona, Arizona, UCLA, Arizona, Washington, or UCLA, Arizona, Washington, Arizona, UCLA, Fresno State, but Arizona was there. UCLA, Washington, Oklahoma, UCLA, Arizona, UCLA, Cal, Arizona, UCLA, Cal, Michigan, UCLA, Arizona, Northwestern, Arizona, Tennessee, Arizona State, A&M, Washington, Florida, UCLA, Arizona, Arizona State, Florida. So, yeah, I don't want to hear it. Yes, there's been other champions, and I get it. Hats off to them. Alabama beat Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma beat Tennessee. Florida beat Alabama, and then Florida beat Michigan. Oklahoma beat Auburn. Oklahoma beat Florida in 2017 and 2018. Florida State, while Washington got back, but beat Washington. 2019, though, UCLA beat Oklahoma. It was canceled in 2020, obviously due to COVID. And then Oklahoma beat Florida State in 2021, and then Oklahoma beat Texas. So look, Oklahoma, again, recently done great, and they're champs. Hats off to them. I don't take anything away. I don't talk out of both sides of my mouth. But in softball, I'm sorry, just because you've done it for few seasons, like the amount of championship games where it was all Pac-12 or at least one Pac-12 team, so much. I mean, the scale's so far tipped. But I say that to say because Arizona is coming up to Tempe to take on the Sun Devils, and tonight at 7 o'clock, tomorrow at 5, and then Sunday at 2 p.m. all local time here in Arizona. So, and time changes too. So it's 10 o'clock Eastern on, or no, 9 o'clock Eastern on, Friday, and then 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, and then 5 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. Yeah, all at Farrington Stadium. And yes, the ball can fly out of there. And as of right now, I can tell you their records as well, by the way. So UCLA right now 23-1 overall. Stanford is at 20-2. Washington at 18-3. Arizona State at 15-3. Cal at 17-4. Oregon at 16-4. Utah 16-4. Arizona at a very slouching 15-6. I say that sarcastically. I'm not taking a shot. I mean 15-6, and then Oregon State at 9-11 right now. Only team under 500 in the Pac-12. Where again, Colorado with no softball team, Washington State with no softball team, and USC with no softball team. So those are the three without softball in the Pac-12. Yep, number 17 Cats to open Pac-12 play against number 22 Sun Devils. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's gonna be a huge matchup. And yeah. So it'll be again, I'll be out there and it'll be awesome. So yeah, I mean that's where we're at. But anyway, gonna get out of here. Again, enjoy the semifinals. Oh, Bill Walton, I want to wrap up. Last night, Bill Walton, last thing I will say is he was saying there should be 5 teams in there should be 5 teams from the Pac-12 in because he's like, well, Washington State's over 500 and they were over 500. They should be in. So according to Walton, UCLA and Arizona, obviously we know they're in, and not just because he went to UCLA. He loves the Conference of Champions, and I love when I hear Bill Walton podcasting the game. But nonetheless, so UCLA, Arizona, USC, even though they lost last night, but USC's in, as I talked about. And he said he went with UCLA, Arizona, USC, Arizona State, and Washington State actually over Oregon. And again, it's reaction, but you look at both Washington State and Oregon did win down the stretch. And again, you wouldn't get 6 of them in because again, you look at their records and Washington State 17-16 overall. ASU is 22 and well, they're 22-11 now. Oregon's 19-13. I mean, they went to 20-13. SC 22-10. They're good. Obviously, Arizona 26-6. UCLA 28-4. So UCLA, I mean, still playing for an overall number 1 seed as well. But look, I love Walton for that. And again, he's pumping the conference, but he played in it. And yes, it's been a minute. It changes, but I love how he razzes Joe Lenardi in the bracket. He goes, this bracketology guy. And Dave Pash said he's a Las Vegas of bracketology because he's not sleeping. And actually, he got Walton to chuckle on that one. But nonetheless, going to get out of here. Again, enjoy semifinal and championship week. Enjoy bracket Sunday because, yes, people will be going crazy. And I really hope Mississippi State falls into that no bye, and they should have to play their way in because Bama's going to boat them. And especially if ASU wins, sorry, Mississippi State. Not sorry, because your resume is not nearly as good as ours. So you don't get to live off the coattails of losing to everybody in your conference. And then, but you beat somebody in the Pac-12 and you want to say, oh, well, look at that. Again, both sides of the mouth. So we'll get out of here. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Have fun. Enjoy some hoops. If you're in Florida or Arizona, enjoy some spring training. And yeah, I'm going to be enjoying some softball too. So have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel. And as always, yes, forks up.